Yeah, this is Billiam. For the last 2 months, I have been immersed in all things Spike TV. I have seen everything this channel has ever produced, and I can say with absolute certainty, it is the dumbest channel of all time.
Can you freeze your farts and smell them later?
You can't freeze your farts and smell them later.
Last time, we jumped into Spike's sheer ridiculous message that shows why it made so much weird content, but I really want to stress that people thought it was dumb back then too.
Get this guy a jockstrap and a cookie.
It was no secret that cable TV produced a lot of bad content. I'm just unearthing it again because I don't want to leave it buried. It's fun.
Calm down, dude. Calm down. Calm down, bro. Calm down. 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 You're bleeding. Relax.
I watched a lot of this stuff as a kid, and even back then, I knew it was bad. I knew people thought it was bad.
Spike TV, full of stuff men like.
It's a harshly corporatized edginess combined with genuine absurdity that is silly and unserious at best, and some of the worst stuff ever put to TV at worst.
The IRA versus the Taliban.
From Deadliest Warriors absurd matchups to the worst storyline in WWE history, Spike TV aired a lot of weird content. I won't even show you a clip from Ren and Stimpy's adult party cartoon in the first minute of the video. But then it also helped the UFC get off the ground. It's a crazy story. They did so much weird stuff.
Stan Lee. Personally, I'd stick with the boobs. Bingo!
This is the Spike TV Iceberg. We're gonna be breaking this channel down into different categories. It's gonna be one wild ride, kiddo, so come and take a seat by me, your father, as I tell you about Spike TV. Everyone, it's time we discuss the way to make yourself the manliest man ever. And that's through accessorizing. With today's sponsor, Thorum. Thorum crafts stylish rings out of materials that could be described as manly. Dinosaur bones, guitar strings, skateboards, these are accessories you could wear to cowboys. The Freya set Savannah and I have had for several months now is made from hammered tungsten carbide, which is as tough as it is elegant. Each ring in the set is 18 karat gold plated and hypoallergenic. No sensitive skin issues here. And even if a pirate cut my hand off during battle, taking my Thorum ring and watch if he got enough wrist. It doesn't matter because Thorum includes a lifetime warranty on all rings. Getting in contact with Thorum's legendary customer service is easy. Plus, they're located right in Tampa, Florida, so they're my neighbors. Hey guys. Thorum also now makes watches to keep track of all that time you spend, pumping iron, plotting battles, thinking about the Roman Empire. I've had the Aloha watch since September, but now I'm adding the Redwood to my collection. So up your style points and get over to Thorum.com and be sure to use code Billiam at checkout to get 20% off. All items ship within 1 business day. So order now to start your spring off super fresh and super stylish. Thank you for taking the time to watch this ad. Layer 1, The Surface, the most popular shows on Spike.
1,000 Ways to Die is back with fresh episodes, February 8th at 10.
An instant classic, 1,000 Ways to Die is a show based on real deaths with wildly fictitious reenactments and details. Hot take, this show is funny. The characters usually have bad intentions and their karma is death in 1,000 different ways. The show didn't run that long. Like this thief in the airport steals some confiscated bottle of rum and has himself a little drink. But uh-oh, it's liquid cocaine.
Oh my God, Charlie!
An easy mistake to make. I am convinced this show created a generation of paranoid children. If you liked this show as a kid, ask yourself, are you paranoid? Comment below. I see you.
This is how you do it.
And then...
This pumpkin thief took a pumpkin to the chest from a cannon. And that's why you don't steal pumpkins. Experts will talk about something related to death with 3D renderings of where and when their bodies failed them. It's like if Mortal Kombat were more educational. This flight attendant has a lot going on. She's retiring the next day. She ignores the pilot's order because she is through with listening to his bossy ass. He says everyone sit down and buckle up, but why would she listen to him?
And then...
So So many of the deaths in this show have to do with sex that I am convinced the show is not so subliminally trying to promote chastity. This guy has his penis chewed by a raccoon he wanted the freak with. Don't have sex with animals. That's a great message to send. I'm not being sarcastic.
It's not just the blood loss that kills you.
In the very same episode, this guy is running a morgue and having sex with all the bodies, so he forgets to secure the coffin in the car and it crushes him in an accident.
Go to hell, you freak.
Yeah, tell him. But also, why did they write the character like that? Like, the death is he was crushed by a coffin, and then they added the sex story to it. Still in the same episode, a girl falls off a motorcycle, but they have to add she was actually trying to orgasm while riding the motorcycle before she fell off it.
Body reaches an orgasm.
And now we're talking about what happens when you orgasm.
So jerking your legs, for example, or starting to move spasmodically.
She came undone.
The episode is still going, and it's still horny. The nurse is getting robbed, and the robber tells her to undress her Party City nurse costume. It's a uniform, and she's wearing all this lingerie underneath. At work, she looks good while turning on the MRI machine while he flies through the air, smashing his head because he had metal plates in his head, and the MRI machine is a magnet. So terrifying and so sexy. That's composition. The image of him flying through the air and her standing next to the MRI machine, that's why we made movies. And that's 1,000 Ways to Die.
Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die.
It's a duel to the death to decide who is the deadliest warrior.
Deadliest Warriors is a show that appeals to my who would win guilty pleasure. Give me Death Battle, Epic Rap Battle, Fortnite. This show asks, who are history's greatest fighters?
The IRA versus the Taliban. Who is deadliest?
What? Why can't we just kiss and make up? The whole show leads up to a showdown with the whole team analyzing each warrior's arsenal, testing their short, mid, and long-ranged weapons against each other to collect data for their battle simulator. We will get to the battle simulator. This show is like Mythbusters if it were way more bloodthirsty and they made a little movie at the end. Whoa, 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 this is the performance of a lifetime. Magnifico, magnifique, let's keep an eye on this guy. Wonderful stuff. The show ends with a 10-minute team v team or 1v1 fight that culminates all with the approximated surface level information the show doles out for 35 minutes, much of which is littered with error or misrepresentation, including getting the names of wars, groups, and even fucking weaponry wrong, which is supposed to be this show's bread and butter.
The IRA's slingshot, a child's toy.
The IRA are fighting with slingshots, flamethrowers.
Slingshot? Which IRA is this?
The IRA, they may have been armed with slingshots in a dream, but they still won. I'm a dude. I think about the Roman Empire, and I like dumb, fun stuff. I like historical stuff. Recently, I went to the Met for the very first time, and my priority was to see the International Armory. That shit is so old, it's so dope. I saw the historical Phineas, y'all.
Hey, good one.
If this show were the best version of itself, I think I would really like it, especially because of the absurd matchups.
A knight versus a pirate.
In the best episodes, the experts they bring in to weigh in on each side are invested in the outcome of the simulation's results, which will of course be theatrically recreated at the end of the show. The people most invested were the knight fans going against the pirate enjoyers. Yeah. Holy shit. Great job.
It was banned in 1139 by the Pope because it was deemed too evil.
That was an excellent shot. Please put this guy on a list. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. He insists the pirates have to lose.
He's a sinner. There was good, there was evil. God was good. Anybody else who didn't believe in God was evil. They knew God was on their side.
They love knights so deeply and so blindly, they insist they are explosion-proof.
There's no way that this is going to create enough force to go through that plate.
Check that out. I mean, it's like 3 inches right inside the pig there.
You know, it's a nice trick, but that's all it is.
No, dude, That's a grenade. 'Tis a fatal flesh wound.
He doesn't. We both clash heads. I have my mobility, my flexibility. I got the weapon.
I can't tell if they're being given direction to trash talk, but what I can tell is it's not in their DNA.
The strongest pirate wouldn't be as strong as the weakest knight.
And skin. Pirate sissies, check this out.
Here's a bullet, just so you keep in mind that you can't penetrate a knight's armor.
A knight's gonna have a shield, so getting through that extra layer of steel, it's gonna be a big factor.
Then we finally get to see the reenactment. I love the horse not committing to running away from the explosion. You are too good for this, horse. We see two warriors use every weapon demonstrated throughout the show, and then we finally get the outcome we've been waiting for 45 minutes to see. The pirate wins in the most brutal, dirty way possible. Wonderful stuff. This show should be 15 minutes. At first, I thought the battle simulator they had for the show was like just not real. But because pirates were the first group in the show with guns, they explained the simulator had to be modded.
I've had to customize this program a little bit for Pirate vs. Knight because we're dealing with the advent of black powder weapons.
Then the United States Green Berets lost to the Russians, and this show was made in the United States.
And the fact that we had two techno geeks tell us that we didn't win, I'm not too upset about that.
It's a little baffling. Y'all, children could be watching this, feeling unsafe. This is America. Who is to blame? Who made that simulator? Guys, I'm just teasing. Call me Billiam.
This program was developed by Slytherin Studios over in the UK, and it's taken them 5 years to build it.
I was so curious about this simulator, and Savannah found this forum post from a Slytherin admin explaining the simulator used for Deadliest Warriors is just a modded version of their game, The History Channel, Great Battles of Rome. Spike TV made a whole show around a modded History Channel game, which would take into account the data created by Max on set watching the experiments. But by season 3, they got rid of Max, the guy who made the US Green Berets lose. Max was replaced with Robert Daly, an all-American former Green Beret.
New digital combat engine was created by Robert Daly, a former Green Beret and designer of more than 30 military-based video games.
He's the head of Pipeworks Studios, who developed the 2 Deadliest Warrior video games. So it's a better tie-in. They're not promoting a History Channel game anymore. But Robert Daly was later fired from both the show and the game studio because he lied about being a Green Beret. Deadliest Warriors really didn't do its homework, and they really hate the US Army Green Berets. Ow! If anything was the Spike TV show for me as a kid, it's definitely Blue Mountain State. I watched every single episode of this show, and I'm ashamed to admit it. It's about a bunch of party-obsessed college football players, and I can say with absolute certainty this show does not hold up, for the most part. Blue Mountain State makes The Waterboy look like a masterpiece. The humor is in the world of an Adam Sandler movie, but there's no Adam Sandler trying to sell the humor. For the most part, our main guy, Alex Moran, is boring. A bit of a wish fulfillment character, he dates hot girls, succeeds without even trying, and everyone around him sees he can be the most important person in the history of this football team if only he applied himself.
We're looking for Alex Moran.
Oh, I'm Alex Moran.
Just like all of the viewers of Spike TV. It's lowbrow silliness with a cast of characters that don't live up to the ridiculous drug-fueled, sex-filled world. Except for one guy. Thad Castle, played by Alan Richson, is a flamboyant meathead who is constantly stealing the show.
You're not gonna slap my ass? I wasn't planning on it, no. Oh, he wasn't planning on it. Well, so sorry to spoil your plans.
Making it so much better with every scene he's in.
See, the thing is, moron, it's not even about slapping asses. It's about being a good teammate.
His dad died in the war, leaving him his beloved fleshlight, which he now holds dearly to him as the source of his football power. The rest of the team steals the pocket and passes it around, draining the power of their star player.
I have stuck my dick and sometimes my balls in that
stupid thing before every game since I was 10! I can't play without it!
Until the eventual emotional reunion. He's overconfident, obsessed with drugs, cocaine, and strippers, women, sex. But is he gay or bisexual? But the character will just like turn on a dime and become like a very earnest fool.
Alma, leave this place. It's degrading toward women.
Greatest for women.
Degrading.
He gives it all in every scene, and it's no surprise to me that Alan Ritchson has gone on to play major roles like Reacher. Reacher's back. A lot of people talk about the Drug Olympics as a great episode, but I think it's kind of boring compared to the Looney Tunes escapade that is Vision Quest, in which Thad has to decide if he's going to stay in college or go pro a year early. Everyone plays a character on his psychedelic journey, and there's this funny through line about his coach playing a father figure to him only to manipulate him into staying in college. I legitimately love the gag where he shows Thad a photo of the two of them that he keeps on his desk just because Thad is that important to him. He's like a son to him. Thad is touched, but as soon as he leaves the room, he shows he has a drawer full of photos with every other player. A commonly used manipulative tactic, which then has a great punchline later in the Vision Quest when Thad sees his father, who doesn't recognize the name of his beloved pocket which he passed down to Thad. If you watch one episode, watch that one. This is not a good show, but Thad is genuinely a very funny character.
You Walt Disney, this is Thadland!
Are there even any other characters? Comment below. The longest running show from early Spike TV was actually a reworked Japanese game show, MXC Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
Don't finger your clicker, because when we come back, it's Boulder Dash.
It's literally a vocal dub of Takeshi's Castle, produced by Japanese superstar Beat Takeshi. Starting on TNN, the predecessor to Spike TV in 2003, and later continuing on the transition to Spike, Western audiences were exposed to the hilarity of extreme obstacle courses dubbed by English-speaking comedians.
Happened out there.
Did I win?
Maybe we should talk to your son. So what did your daddy promise you if you won?
A new bike.
Oh, a new bike. Do you think it will happen now?
No way.
The physical comedy of Takeshi's Castle is pretty ridiculous. It's like the show Wipeout, except Takeshi sued Wipeout because they came up with the idea first. There's always a stupid bit the voice actors go with every episode. My favorite is when they dub one team the voice actors, and they dub the other team as the meat handlers.
I will be on the field of battle to officiate the long-standing rivalry between the cartoon voice actors and the American meat handler.
It's like this simple premise to go off on like a little silly improv game with. It's all pretty harmless and genuinely fun stuff. At one point, I gaslit myself into thinking the voices they were doing were like all Asian stereotypes, but they actually weren't. They were French stereotypes, so I'm the problem.
Oh, now we're going to start talking dirty, huh?
Mansers is the most ridiculous show ever, and we talked about it for like 10 minutes in the last video.
How can poop become a destructive missile?
It aims to rot your brain, and they stole their editing style from Power Thirst, this old like internet video, except they have more money, so there's all these like models flying around all the time. Like, I feel like if you're a video editor, this show is even funnier. It's insane questions trying to be backed up by real science, but it's all pretty useless unless you live the craziest life.
How can you most likely score with a lesbian? How much bigger have boobs gotten in the last 15 years? How much boob is more than a handful?
Double D's are like 2 scoops.
In what country are you most likely to get a 3-way? How many boobs does it take to screw in a light bulb? Yes!
I talked about Mansers in the last video as having this air of like corporate edginess. And after doing some more research, it turns out that's exactly what it is. In 2009, after Mansers had been renewed for what would be its final season, Spike executive Sharon Levi described the tough code Spike was trying to crack. We have been trying to figure out how to do a show with women in it that is sexy and not misogynist. It's funny that even the Spike leadership knew it was misogynist, and the very funny thing is, this is a very self-critical comment because Sharon Levi is the creator of Mansers, all in an attempt to pander to the network's perception of guys.
When big boobs bounce on the moon, how loud do speakers have to be to blow a girl's clothes off? Huge bouncing boobs. Boom! Someone ripped your eye out with their bare hands. Huge bouncing boom!
I watched Manswers as a kid. I thought it was funny, but that was the problem. It was really only appealing to the network's youngest viewers. Viewers that are not very valuable to advertisers. So it was canceled by Spike in an attempt to move away from an audience that was made up of exclusively middle schoolers. So believe it or not, the most popular show Spike TV ever produced was Lip Sync Battle. Produced by Jimmy Fallon, Lip Sync Battle was a spin-off of The Tonight Show, which created a lot of viral momentum for his early days as host. The most seen thing Spike TV ever created was Tom Holland in drag dancing to Rihanna's Umbrella. One upload on YouTube has over 150 million views. Nothing else in Spike's catalog even comes close. The second most seen thing the First Man's Network ever created was Channing Tatum in drag dancing to Beyonce's Who Run the World, Girls. Bugs Bunny who? Beyonce even shows up. No wonder why it has 58 million views on YouTube. In 2015, Lip Sync Battle had beaten Spike viewership records, which it had set the first year it was on the air. In 2003, Spike TV's viewership peaked and it basically went downhill for 12 years straight. 12 years of stagnant ratings only broken by Channing Tatum in baby PG drag. Really, the only remarkable thing about Lip Sync Battle is the sheer number of A-listers who wanted to participate in it because it's on basic cable. Content-wise, it's very shallow, but a blast. But in 2015, the attention and financial success was so unprecedented for Spike, it led to a total rebranding of the channel. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The Joe Schmo Show originally premiered in September of 2003, giving viewers one of the most unique seasons of reality TV, as Matt, the central figure, had no idea the entire show was actually about him. Like the Truman Show, he was tricked. I talked about season 1 in the last video, but in season 2, Joe and now Jane Schmo think they are on a dating show, Last Chance for Love, pursuing a bachelor and bachelorette. Season 2 is interesting because one of the cast members definitively figured it out. Literally, she started being suspicious by the first episode.
I noticed that the women that were eliminated were all of an ethnic background, and I didn't like that.
I thought I was on, like, the Truman Show.
Jane Schmo quickly realized something was off. So the team offers her a deal. Join the cast, and if she keeps the secret, she could still win the $100,000. I think having one Schmo in the dark and one Schmo on the other team now gave the concept a very fresh angle. However, after she accepts the deal and trades sides, they add another Jane Schmo, which I think is an interesting choice. Now I think there's too much going on. This season is entertaining, but definitely doesn't hit the crazy highs and lows of the first season. The characters in the house are more bland this time around, and none of them seem to stick out to me besides Ralph, the host, who has completely transformed this time around and is now blonde and English.
Welcome to the very first Falcon Twist.
The parody show in the second season, Last Chance for Love, is too narrowly focused on being a parody of The Bachelor, which had just started the year before, which was a much newer show at the time. The challenges and scenarios are more unimaginative than the original parody show Lap of Luxury, like give a lap dance or give a first gift, I'm falling asleep. Before Lip Sync Battle, the first season finale of Joe Schmo was the highest rated program on the network, and Matt's reaction when he learns the whole show is about him would be used as a network ID for years.
What is going on?
From year one, Spike's whole history was an identity crisis and a rating slump. So what on earth were they trying to do? Layer 2, Combat Sports. Spike TV and TNN before Spike TV always aired unconventional sports. The XFL, Monster Jam, Roller Jam, and even Slam Ball. Slam Ball. A sport which is yet to have its time in the sun. We need Slam Ball. It's basketball on trampolines. Spike was known for all of these off-ball sports, but it was really known for combat sports, including pro wrestling and MMA. Back in 2000, when the WWE was the WWF, and right before TNN became Spike TV, Monday Night Raw, the center of professional wrestling's programming, had moved from the Universal-owned USA Network to Viacom's TNN. This was at the end of the WWF's Attitude Era, which was characterized by overt, crude, and sexual behavior. Pro wrestling was essential to TNN's lineup, but in 2002, Monday Night Raw would air one of the worst storylines in pro wrestling history. Benny J. Scala for Pro Wrestling Stories recounted the Katie Vick story in 2023. It was Kane against Triple H, who wanted to show the world just what kind of guy Kane really was. Triple H had uncovered a decade-old crime. 10 years earlier, Kane had killed his lover in a drunken car accident. Then, live in front of the audience, Triple H showed the audience a videotape of him dressed as Kane. Inside a real funeral home, false Kane speaks to the dummy representing Katie Vick's body before simulating sex with it and relishing in piles of raw meat, explaining he just screwed her brains out. It goes on for way too long, and fans really hated this storyline.
I screwed your brains out.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
A storyline which Vince McMahon received creative pushback for, but insisted on airing anyways. McMahon, though. Am I right?
You take me to him. Take me to the son of a bitch. Take me to him. Come on. Go.
I'm great. This storyline happened just months after TNN, which heavily emphasized pro wrestling's presence, rebranded to Spike TV. Perhaps this is why Spike TV decided not to renew its contract with the WWE just a few years later in 2005. This wasn't exactly a great era. If you disagree with me, comment down below. In 2005, the WWE was set to go back to the USA Network. During the final WWE broadcast on Spike TV, Vince McMahon tried to promote the new home of Monday Night Raw, but every time he mentioned USA Network, Spike TV would censor the live broadcast.
Next week, Monday Night Raw returns back.
There is even visual censorship, presumably covering logos and airtimes and whatnot. Just basic things that they're putting on screen to try to make sure they don't lose viewership. But the production caught wind of the censorship. Because of the mechanics of live broadcast, the WWE responded with a barrage of USA Network mentions, saying it so many times, making it impossible to keep up with censoring.
Next Monday night on the USA Network, WWE Homecoming. Bischoff can't wait to go to WWE Homecoming on the USA Network. Our homecoming to the USA Network.
This was a particularly move on Spike's end because they're the one who canceled the contract. It's not like they were retaliating to the WWE's decision. They were rubbing it in. So you for making me side with Vince McMahon, Spike TV. From both ends, Spike TV and the WWE seemed like a 5-year misstep. But the channel eventually partnered with TNA Wrestling, a competitive pro wrestling brand which included Hulk Hogan irregularly on the roster. Spike TV was TNA's first home on basic cable, but after the end of their contract in 2014, TNA went on to Destination America, the home of the best pro wrestling TV show, Mountain Monsters.
Suck it up, you son of a bitch, Trapper! Suck it up!
Spike TV was pretty major for TNA, but arguably it had a bigger impact on the early success of the UFC. By the time Spike TV came around for the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the organization behind the most popular MMA fights in the world had been nothing but a money pit, with over $40 million invested but no interest from television networks. Even Spike TV, the first man's network, was not initially interested in the UFC. As recounted by UFC founder Dana White in a write-up by Michael Rothstein at ESPN, Spike thought UFC was boring.
Huh?
The executives at the Man's Network did not think men would be interested in men fighting. They said it was boring and that the modern man was interested in more exciting sports such as slam ball. I know that's coming. It's not often the executives are like ahead of the curve on things, but they were too ahead of their time. Back then, Spike TV was really known for its cartoons, which we'll get to in the next layer. It was not really the ideal home for the UFC. So Dana White and the rest of the organization decided to self-fund a reality show called The Ultimate Fighter, which would culminate in a live event after viewers had seen the entire season. It was only because the UFC self-funded this reality TV show, Spike unexpectedly decided to partner with them. And obviously the show quickly became a hit as soon as it aired. The show gave a group of fighters the opportunity to train and be seen as more than just meatheads pummeling each other in the ring. And Dana White got the opportunity to be seen as an emotionally invested figurehead. Yet despite the early success, Spike had still been unsupportive at the beginning. As explained by White, going into the finale, Spike was supposed to do this full-page ad for us in the USA Today. They bailed on it, and I'm freaking out. It was only after the massively successful live event in Las Vegas, which grossed over $2 million, making it the most financially successful MMA fight for the time, did Spike TV actually reach out to the UFC with support for a second season, offering to finally fund it. But by then, the sport had already become too big for Spike. Just 4 years later, in 2009, the UFC would move to a much more mainstream Fox network, a deal which cost $90 million. Now, UFC has a home at the Disney-owned ESPN+. Although Spike gave it a home, it's hard not to see the situation as the UFC succeeding in spite of Spike, rather than because of it. And I really do think Spike TV is what held Slam Ball back.
Left, Mason Gordon, the creator of Slam Ball, shoots a fading jumper, goaltender.
Now it's time for real sports. Half Pint Brawlers is a reality show following an entertainment stunt group, a professional wrestling league made up of little people. Like the UFC, this troupe found success through mail order and pay-per-view videos before Spike TV picked up a full season of this, airing just 1 year after Spike lost the UFC. Surprisingly, this one did not take off quite as much. But the Micro Wrestling Federation is back in 2024 with the new TV show, Big Little Brawlers. Only on Discovery, so don't worry. The Wild World of Spike is an early Spike TV show and a weird one. These three guys, two of which are athletes and one of which is a comedian, commentate on fail videos and weird sports from around the world while sitting on the ugliest man cave set I've ever seen. Their comments are just awkward and unfunny. They're clearly not friends, and they really struggle with finding anything clever to say.
What if we have hot chicks and tomatoes?
I could be down with that.
Everyone go out, find a chick, and find a team.
I've got 5.
If you watch this show and put yourself in their shoes, you will always think of what they're gonna say before they say it. It's so unfunny and unclever. Jokes that reinforce old stereotypes are very clearly just because they're uncomfortable on camera. Like, watch it with that in mind. It's so obvious. This might be the most boring show the channel ever aired, and I've seen Gary the Rat. He's a cartoon. We're moving to that. Layer 3, cartoons, animated shows. Because the first president of Spike, whose name is Albie Hecht, because that guy was a former Nickelodeon executive, when Spike TV, the first man's channel, premiered, it came out with a slate of cartoons and pretty much nothing else. Promoting these new animated projects were these two guys playing Spike executives who would interview the people involved in their new cartoons, which all tried to have a celebrity air to them. The least celebrity of which is John Kay, the creator of Ren and Stimpy and its awful reboot.
John Crispolucci. John Kay, welcome to the first network for men.
I appreciate Ren and Stimpy, but I never really vibed with it. I was too young to really watch it when it was popular and when it was creatively invigorating. You know, classics are hard to appreciate because so many things take from them later on. Ren and Stimpy's whatever, but I hate Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon. It's insanely tasteless. Made by a foul, disgusting man who's just obsessed with playing in his own foul, putrid garbage. It's not funny or entertaining. Like, I was expecting it to be faster paced, but they took a 10-minute cartoon and stretched it out to 20 minutes for no reason. So you can watch the girls at the beach play with their boobs for 15 whole minutes. They didn't even air that episode. It's so funny that clips from this version circulate because people thought this aired on Nickelodeon. In the foulest, most explicit imagery ever, people are gaslit into believing the original Ren and Stimpy got away with this stuff.
Ren is still an asshole. Stimpy's still retarded.
Boobs, buttholes, blood. You may be surprised to hear this is one of the slowest paced cartoons I've ever seen. It's for adults now, so there's mature scenarios. This episode opens up with Ren feeling sorry for being so mean to Stimpy in the past, and he pleads with him for forgiveness for 2 minutes straight.
How can you say those horrible things to me?
Then Ren goes outside and sadly walks looking for help for another 2 minutes straight. It's so long and drawn out, like, let's get on with it.
He's a sick puppy, that John K., but in a good way.
Turns out it wasn't in a good way. Billy West played Stimpy in the Nickelodeon cartoon and Ren after John K. was fired, because he was fired from the original cartoon because he couldn't reach deadlines. But West quickly turned down an offer to participate in Adult Party cartoon, explaining in a UGO interview, "It would have damaged my career. It was one of the worst things I ever saw." John K. really sucks. There are a lot of details about that online. Go check them out for yourself. But really, he just couldn't meet deadlines, and he's, like a known predator.
Katie showed me one time, she drew, I was at her 15th birthday party. We'll tell you that backstory a little bit later.
So this show only got 6 episodes made, but not all of them aired, but they were released on DVD later. You know what though? Stan Lee, he was a dirty old man.
I'd stick with the boobs.
Bingo!
Stripperella is an obscenely horny show. Erotica is a stripper by night and a superhero at later night who fights a number of silly villains like Cheapo and Queen Clitoris. What's that? The thing is, despite being just so obscenely horny, I really don't think this show's that bad. The campy sex humor gives a 2000s revamp to 60s superhero and sex camp, perfectly exemplified in the sight gags made for her outfit changes. And her powers are all sight gags and excuses to keep her clothes off.
Aren't you cold in that skimpy little bikini?
No. Actually, I'm impervious to all temperatures and weather conditions.
Her skin stays warm in the cold, her boobs inflate to save someone from drowning, and she can pull various items from her bottomless cleavage. I could see this working more as a movie rather than a recurring series. I just don't think the idea has the longevity.
My breasts are natural lie detectors.
I like Barbarella, Cleopatra Jones, Austin Powers, Erotica Jones, Stripperella fits in that world very nicely.
My nipple cutters.
The character is designed after her voice, Pamela Anderson, even though the character is Erotica Jones.
Didn't be with Pam Anderson. I really want to meet her. A lot of people say I look like her.
Kid Rock and Pamela Anderson were a big Hollywood couple in 2003, so naturally, he composed the TV song.
Pam, a lot of people tell me I look like you.
I don't really see a resemblance.
But I didn't realize the theme song from the DVD copy was actually not his work. I guess I don't know Kid Rock's music because it's way different than the version that aired on TV. The final animated show that Spike premiered with was Gary the Rat, a show about a big city lawyer turned into a rat, played by Kelsey Grammer.
Gary the Rat starring Kelsey Grammer. You're gonna keep mentioning his name, aren't you?
As often as possible.
I've never seen Frasier or much of Cheers at all. I think that should be embarrassing, but I don't feel it.
So basically you're just gonna bang him over the head with Cheers and Frasier, right?
Bingo!
Cheers and Frasier.
But if it's anything like Gary the Rat, I'm not interested.
Women don't care that this lawyer's a rat, as long as he gets them off.
He's a lawyer and a womanizer who gets turned into what he really is, a rat.
Listen, I just came by to tell you that...
To tell me what? To tell me that you're a giant rat freak that scares children in the park?
The show is so bland. The whole show feels like it's only Gary and his boss, Mr. Harrison, arguing, or Gary trying to score with a hot woman, a hot flash animated woman. She's got me motion tweening. People will lose it at that. I just know it. Like, the boring and rigid flash animation fails to bring the vocal performances to life, which I could excuse if the jokes were good. Gary the Rat rigidly walked so 12-ounce mounts could run. Like, I get that the show started as like a cheap web flash animation, and I do think it's kind of cool that they were like looking for that kind of stuff when picking up shows. According to Variety, they had proficient animation, which probably means they had very tight deadlines and didn't get to spend a lot of time on it, and it looks like that. But again, there have been plenty of shows that work with these constraints. This Just In premiered a year later in 2004, and it's just another boring animation. It's about a journalist confused in this liberal world in George Bush's liberal America. The show's humor has aged so horribly. It's not offensive at all. It's just so stuck in the Bush era. It's so dependent on reference humor that I'm sure was played out during the day.
He was a terrorist. Anyone else want to correct me?
Oh my God, Tom Ridge. Who knew he could kick ass?
But I don't get it now. I'm sorry. I had to look up who Tom Ridge was. I was like less than 10 years old when that was happening.
You've turned this into a sports bar for female programming?
Hey, penis in the back, shut up!
This Just In, get out. But Spike TV did have one really cool animated project. Afro Samurai is just so cool. Beginning in 2007, the show is a traditional samurai western with a hip-hop infusion. Samuel L. Jackson picked up the independent manga written and illustrated by Takashi Okazaki. He got involved in the production of an anime adaptation very early on, and getting Wu-Tang Clan's RZA to score the music.
Does Samuel L. Jackson like anime?
Yes, I do. Hentai too.
Oh really? I couldn't tell. There's so much boobs and butts in Afro Samurai. Of course you do. In the shadow of Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, so much of the anime's presentation comes through music and mood. The tone feels like it's emulating a Toonami promo. Afro is on a revenge mission to defeat the #1 greatest combatant in the world, who had killed his father. The story unfolds after Afro has gained the title of #2, putting a target on his back, as challengers must defeat him first to get to #1 and become a god. With monotone and two-tone color palettes, moods are accentuated and emotion is given to the quiet protagonist played by Jackson, who is followed by his loudmouthed imaginary friend who's also played by Jackson.
Hey, that a RPG? You got a RPG? RPG in a backpack?
This is kind of a cool and special project, in my opinion. It is overbearing with violence and sex, but that's just Afro Samurai, baby. If anything I've said sounds cool to you, check it out. You won't be disappointed. And if you've seen it, comment down below. What do you think?
Layer 4, Reality TV.
Bar Rescue is still airing today on the Paramount Network, which Spike TV turned into. But it started while it was on Spike TV, so they needed like the most manly, like husky Tom Hanks they could get.
Of course, because you don't know anything! You don't know anything!
John Tafer is abrasive and crazy-eyed, and he just sounds like Tom Hanks.
You're an irresponsible ass! And my wife probably got sick because of you.
The show is literally if Gordon Ramsay was from Great Neck, New York. He's literally from Great Neck. It's very apropos.
Fire someone now!
John boasts about how he is an amazing businessman, but neither Kitchen Nightmares nor Bar Rescue have a very good track record with saving the businesses on the show. He's got that nasty Gordon Ramsay attitude, but that's like Gordon's signature, bruv. But I guess if you were a nice guy, people would just say you're Tom Hanks.
This club is one of my favorite features, a super butt funnel, the deepest butt funnel I have ever done.
One thing that is so evident to me in these shows is when like Gordon or John come in and they just try to strong arm what they think everything should be rather than working with what's already there and trying to make that work. John meets with the owners of a pirate bar.
Hi guys.
In a busy downtown area, and things do not go smoothly. He gives a lot of great advice. Like the drinks are all too sweet and they have 200 plus menu items. And the owner's husband is the chef, can't cook, and is unwilling to even taste his own food. He tries it, spits it out, and says, "Why should I have to try my food?" These are all very valid issues. It's pretty clear he's dealing with people who are very much stuck in their old ways that don't work. But his response is so petty. Like he gets caught up in it.
When are you gonna get it in your head? Pirates isn't working. Do you wanna be a pirate or do you wanna send your daughter to college?
Rather than try to compromise and collaborate with the pirate theme in any way, like not even like a nautical theme or like an old-fashioned theme. Instead, he does this extreme departure that's only designed for television. How dare this TV show be designed for TV?
Oh, that's just... What the f*** is that?
The mundanely ironic name is a sarcastic dismissal to the creative conflict they were having, and the owner responds exactly how you'd expect.
These changes are not what I had wanted.
But John just says she's crazy and to get out of there. It's just so obvious these decisions are made for the sake of television. And even if slightly more bars on Bar Rescue have been saved than kitchens on Kitchen Nightmares, I still prefer Gordon being a little bitch than John Tafer, Tom Hanks voice guy trying to be a little bitch. Just a big bitch. And I wouldn't say that to his face. He'd kill me. If there's any reality show in Spike TV's catalog that is definitively fake, it has to be World's Worst Tenants.
Stop!
Calm down. Stop this.
Why don't you get your bald ass off my step? I told you to get off my step.
Or what?
It's up to you.
The only real thing I'll be showing you is the back of the host's head. Yeah, that's Todd Howard, and that's his real hairstyle.
He made this situation a lot worse on himself than it had to be.
He should have just, like, cut it out. Todd and his wife and bestie deal with what would be the world's worst tenants. In premise, this is the Spike TV show I'm probably most offended by. I mean, like, somebody getting evicted is never a happy scenario. They don't have to be putting that on camera for entertainment's sake. But thankfully, everyone is just a character here so Todd can have his little action movie playtime, like Timmy Turner. He goes on boat chases, fights hand-to-hand combat, takes down domestic terrorists, forklift mania! This is just a silly, ridiculous show, and it's landlord propaganda.
Got a knife!
Todd's nothing special. He's actually just like John Tafer from Bar Rescue. Mad, bad at their job, and I would never say anything bad to their face. Ink Master is wild just because people are willingly sitting down to have a permanent tattoo put onto them just for a game show.
But then you went in here and put too much time in every wrinkle. You accentuated the parts of the photo that you kind of don't want to accentuate.
To become the Ink Master, artists must be versatile in style and communicate properly with their canvases. The regular people coming on a show with a time limit and high stress, the Ink Masters try to adapt to give a permanent tattoo. The artist's relationship to the people they're tattooing is very entertaining to me because if the artist runs out of time or caves into pressure, then people are left with embarrassing or straight up unflattering tattoos.
Jennifer.
That is a dick with scales. One-eyed Willie right there. And it's got wings.
The tattoos that require anatomy knowledge tend to suffer the most.
She's got 2 right feet.
There's 2 big toes in the grass.
You lose it. The shape of the mouth is off, the width of the neck.
You know, this is a fun show, and I like how in later seasons, the attitude amongst contestants and the judges adopt a more supportive vibe. In a post-Great British Bake Off world, it just seems way less fake. I never watched Joes vs. Pros as a kid, but I'm really into it. Beginning in 2006, this reality show sees your average Joes going up against a rotating squad of professional athletes in a variety of challenges. The first season season featured football legend Jerry Rice and diplomat Dennis Rodman, amongst other regulars. It's thrilling to see one guy smoke Rodman in this strange basketball shooting competition. It's on a treadmill. But then obviously later, the guy can't get a single rebound off the ambassador. He's pro for a reason, but it is the pros getting caught off guard and then proceeding to unequivocally dominate in another challenge that creates this great level of excitement. And the Joes smack talking and hyping themselves up only to fail horrendously is a really funny, humbling experience. In this golfing challenge, the Joes were allowed to pick which pros they go up against, and I lost it after this dude confidently picked NFL player and pro wrestler Bill Goldberg for this golfing challenge.
I'm gonna go with Goldberg.
What a surprise.
He thinks this is the guy I can beat in golf. But then the pro wrestler gets the best shot in the whole challenge, even better than the pro golfers. Like, tough shot, my guy.
Oh, beautiful shot by Goldberg. Once again, straight down the middle. Hit it.
This is probably the best game show Spike created. It's no wonder it ran for so long and why it's coming back. It's just simple, good fun. Spike did just air a lot of shows that piggybacked off the success of other shows. And of course, Spike had their very own Bigfoot show. $10 million Bigfoot Bounty is a lesser known Bigfoot show where people from around the country compete to be the first to find real Bigfoot evidence.
We are the best Bigfooters here.
I use girls for bait at home, and it's no different here.
Spike TV's throwing their hat into a very crowded game, but I think they're gonna be the ones to do it. They're judged by a primatologist and a scientist who won't let fake evidence slide. But don't worry, these people are trained experts and are serious about their craft.
I've shot and killed 2 of them. We saw something, so I shot it.
They may know a bit too much about Bigfoot.
The Sasquatch, they're more inclined to come around females than they are males. I don't know if they're less threatened by females or they may be horny.
Games are my life. Days of my life. Video games are my life.
The Ultimate Gamer is probably the cheesiest 2000s makeover show I've ever seen. So Stryker here finds gamers who are obsessed with one game.
His game room is getting completely so calmed down.
Wait, you're gonna do what to his room? The camera angles are fucking crazy. It's like Lakitu is flying all around him and can't like settle down. Plant, motherfucker, stay still. Stryker knocks on their door with 2 fists every fucking time and tells them, congrats, you are the ultimate gamer. Bring in the dancing models. Then the gamer must make the ultimate sacrifice if they want to be taken into Stryker's adventure. Smash their gaming TV. Not the CRTs.
Stryker, what are you doing, man?
Joining Stryker, the contestants are given a tour of their favorite gaming studios and a chance to win even more video games if they complete challenges before the timer runs out. It's like they're in the video game. Then the gamer is rushed back to their rented apartment and Stryker reveals the renovation. A new room heavily themed around one game. The 3 plasma TVs on the wall was incredible back then, but oh my god, it's like you put a gaming setup on the wall. The Ultimate Gamer.
A custom-made aquarium coffee table. You got it as the Ultimate Gamer.
Is it just me, or would you be really upset if you received that aquarium coffee table as a gift? Those are animals to take care of, and it probably smells so bad. Do you think he kept it? Do you think he cleaned it? How long do you think those goldfish lived for? Do you think he made his girlfriend clean it? And Stryker's just really into custom World War II coffee tables.
World War II gas cans. World War II G. That is awesome.
Like, take a World War II antique, slap a slab of glass on top. That's what you're getting on the Ultimate Gamer. Or live fish. The Call of Duty gamer got his bathroom redone. We call that dropping bonus points in gamer lingo. They put a plasma screen like 1 foot from the toilet with barely any room for his knees or his massive controller. Steam from taking 1 shower would destroy that Xbox. Are they saying he doesn't shower? Are they saying gamers don't shower? I'm just thinking of all the poop inside the Xbox. The Xbox has a fan in it that sucks in air to bring it into the Xbox and blow it out. If I got one of these, a bathroom Xbox, I would simply give it away. I don't need to own more than 2 Xboxes. The Xbox fan has so much poop in it. I needed to say that again. I could have written for Spike TV. They would have loved me. I love Slam Ball. In theory, I've never watched it.
Layer 5, live events.
The first Video Game Awards aired on Spike in 2003 and continued to air there until 2013. Big names like Samuel L. Jackson and Snoop Dogg would host, and they pulled many music artists to perform.
Ludacris is in the house.
These are so strange to watch. Like one year they announced the winner of the categories through models who had murals painted onto them themed to the nominees.
Halo 3.
Like, I know The Simpsons won. You don't need to turn around.
The Simpsons.
And the announcers don't really know how to work with them. It's like they didn't rehearse. It's so awkward.
And the winner is my boner. No, them. Are mine.
I also appreciate the vocal performances being called best performance by human male and human female. Very normal human way to word it. I wasn't expecting Judi Dench to be nominated for a video game award. Do you think she was there that night? Probably not. Jeff Keighley is the big man on campus for the VGAs.
Among us.
As the figurehead and face of the award show, he would co-host the 2013 VGX alongside Joel McHale. I bet that crowd was laughing.
If you tell me which game you love the most, I will buy you 4 more layers.
I need it. Winter is coming.
All right. It's LA outside, right? It's 70 degrees. Okay, our next
back to the show.
World premiere features
that was the final time Spike would produce the show. I think my favorite VGA moment is the gay VGAs. When Neil Patrick Harris hosted, the logo was rainbow, and he starts the show doing his theater kid thing in the opening. The audience is like, yawn, but then he murders all of his dancers, and the whole crowd cheers. Finally, a gay guy for men. The Game Awards obviously continued after the end of Spike with Jeff Keighley, but let it be known, it was always overly commercial. Next up with a spooky name, the Scream Awards, which gave awards to sci-fi, horror, and comic book properties. It's a genre awards ceremony, a fan-voted genre award, but no rom-coms here. I like the idea of there being an event that highlights what fans liked. There are the People's Choice Awards, but fan favorite movies definitely do deserve to be, highlighted for their artistry. So those movies can be encouraged to have artistry. Yeah, I wouldn't really say that's what was celebrated. The fan vote overrided the nomination board from Hollywood's directors and creatives. They had no say in 2007 when Transformers swept the Scream Awards. You think something scary would win an award called the Scream Awards. Needless to say, this event didn't last very long. The final award show put on by Spike was the Guys' Choice Awards. During the red carpet, people were asking the right questions. Who's your favorite guy?
Homer Simpson. What? Homer Simpson. What? I was gonna say Peter Griffin, but he's kind of a little too chunky for me. Homer's a little cuter.
If only she could see him now. There's been a Griffin glow up.
A little too chunky for me. Homer's a little cuter.
Some of these awards are just like yearbook superlatives. Men created the Guys' Choice Awards so they can be in yearbook. Funniest MFer, most unstoppable jock, and coolest geek. But then there are just head-to-head competitions, like who's the hottest? Jessica Alba versus Jessica Biel. Who's Jessica Biel again? Oh yeah, she's pretty hot. Comedy MVP, Ed Helms versus Tracy Morgan. Who's Ed Helms again? Oh yeah, he's pretty hot. Another event Spike put on one year was the search for the ultimate Spike girl. Hundreds of women submitted to be interviewed to see if she can hang with the boys. She better be a cold one, cracking, sports loving, Fortnite gaming before Fortnite was even around, movie going, and boob loving. I mean, loving her boobs showing. Woman for men. the Spike TV girl. The winner was Renee Herlocker, who described her experience saying, "The finalists were invited out to LA House of Blues and the judges asked us questions just to see more of our personality, to see if we knew anything about pop culture and sports, whether we are really a guy's girl. Who better to judge these women than Reacher from Blue Mountain State and Spike TV's very own online exclusive personality, Food Dude, who we'll get into more later."
Who would win in a fight between Chuck Norris and a grizzly bear?
You know what? I'll give it to Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris is right. He always wins.
I'm very glad we've moved away as a society from Chuck Norris jokes. In fact, I think when this aired, we had moved very far away from Chuck Norris jokes. And the Food Dude.
Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal.
Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris.
What did she win, though? Well, the ultimate Spike girl gets to work for Spike. She's at Comic-Con with the Joker baby. Harley Quinn's there too, pretty sick.
Layer 6, Oddities, things I couldn't really categorize.
Alternate History is one of a few failed pilots that Spike aired on TV. Alternate History promises to show viewers what ifs, like what if dinosaurs lived, and in the pilot, what if the Nazis won? Oh no. These kinds of alternate histories are a genre in of themselves, and some are better than others. I'm not sure this is a good one. So the program goes on to explain, in this alternate history, the Germans succeeded in their failed attempt to create fighter jets and nuclear bombs, submitting the US into total surrender after nuking Boston and New York City.
Become our Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Then we get two storylines. In the present, the Nazis used technology to control the masses, and all the people Nazis were prejudiced against are placed into slave camps for US corporations.
Corporations would be doing very well under Nazi rule.
It's dull and very dark stuff, but then everything will be undermined by a graphic that says Fash Page, a fascist parody of Facebook. The best part is the cartoonishly goonish alternate history where Hitler got to be like a famous celebrity in the US, embraced by American Nazi sympathizers. Yuck! Then it's like Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. Ape Dolph Hitler is on Mount Rushmore. He places his hands in the cement in front of the Chinese theater in Hollywood. And later in life, old Hitler gets to throw the first pitch at a Major League Baseball game. This shit is so bad. And before you say it's funny, it's an all-white baseball game. Then it says with the rise of social media, Americans would eventually see the Nazis' abuse of power, and through their naturally American instincts, they would overthrow the prejudiced Nazi government. But I don't know, that doesn't feel too real in 2024. Anyways, thank God Hitler died. Right, Batsmaru?
You must make sure you are not left behind to die.
Surviving disaster could be described as the high-stakes version of 1000 Ways to Die. It's an instructional video series, but this ain't no classroom. It's action-packed Spike.
You know your house when it's dark. They don't. Let them stumble around blind. Stay low. Let's go.
This show is like watching a character from a theme park ride host a TV show. I imagine my seat is supposed to shake and I'm supposed to get like sprayed with mist and be wet while watching it.
A light that bright can only be one thing. There's been a nuclear detonation.
Driving at gunpoint, be aware that your kidnapper is probably just as nervous as you are.
It's Ned's declassified school survival guide for paranoid people.
If you alert the officer too quick, you could get shot and your friends will die. The decision you make in the next few seconds is literally the difference between life and death.
I know there's good advice in here, but there's just something so real about the intense presentation combined with the instructional material that makes it so memeable.
Don't expect mall security to save you. They will be totally overwhelmed.
Written by the screenwriter of the Blade movies, Blade the series is a continuation of the cinematic story. It got canceled simply because it didn't pull in enough ratings. I feel like I would have needed to watch all of the Blade movies to really have an opinion on this series and enjoy watching it. I haven't yet. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot to say. Factory is a very forgettable sitcom about a bunch of guys who work in a factory. They brag about so much of it being improvised, but this is one of those times where it really feels like it.
Because Tracy's down the hall. It's horrible.
Okay, so Tracy's your niece.
Not my niece, Meg's niece. Her stepdad's sister's daughter. She's 21, single, not related to me in any way, and man, would I love to...
Spike's brand really shined on its horny little website. Pages would be dedicated to girls, where you could rate them or watch famous collaborators like Playboy or James Gunn and his series PG Porn. Playboy worked closely with Spike from the beginning, and the two lifestyles promoted by the brand go hand in hand. We collaboratively have developed the first of many programs. The network's launch party was hosted at the infamous Playboy Mansion. Look, it's Stan Lee, Pamela Anderson, Kid Rock, Paris Hilton. Online, the Playboy collaborations shined with webisode series like Playmates, Show and Tell.
Well, wow. You're right on time.
Yikes.
Playmates would share tips on what to do and not to do to win a woman's heart. And sleep with her, of course. So instead of going out to dinner for Valentine's Day, she suggests what women desire.
Cooking a romantic meal at home. Seriously, watching a man prepare dinner is like porn for women.
Girl, no. That watery tricolored pasta and unseasoned shrimp is your porn? It's wild how that's like a whole genre of like videos on TikTok, like a guy just like slapping raw meat. Should I make videos where I like slap some pork butt? Comment below. What videos would you like to see from me? And why not subscribe? In 2008, filmmaker James Gunn was the perfect edgelord Spike needed to capture their online crowd, and he delivered PG Porn. It's for people who love everything about porn except the sex. Think this isn't a beach, it's a bathtub. Its story builds up to the start of sex, but it always goes in an unexpected, unsex-related direction.
Holy cow, I've got a motherfucking erection.
I giggled a bit, chuckled too. Two of the episodes are Peanuts parodies where you can see adult Charlie Brown dry hump Lucy and smack her ass a little bit while Schrodinger tickles the ivories. I am laughing thinking about it. There's the Christmas special too, where they all dry hump each other and then Charlie kills everyone because they saw his mother. Womp womp. The cosmic horror of Charlie Brown's parents realized as some fun James Gunn monster action. It's over the top and silly, and that's just James Gunn PG Porn, baby. PG Porn walked so Guardians of the Galaxy could run. When's the Guardians of the Galaxy PG Porn? I spent some time on Spike's website for sure because the angry video game nerd posted movie reviews there, back when YouTube's copyright system was even worse than it is now. AVGN was on another Viacom-owned site, Game Trailers, who had their own Spike TV show. So there was like, synergy going on. Growing up, I watched a lot of his coverage of Comic-Con on Spike.com. But since the website has shut down, a lot of his reviews have been reposted to YouTube. But Spike needed an original personality for their online entertainment, and guys get hungry. So why not a cooking web series starring the Food Dude? Finally, you can cook and not feel gay.
You don't want any pink left in that sweet smelling stink. You know what I mean?
Launched in 2008, the Food Dude would demonstrate how to make food for dudes, like a pizza sandwich for when you have sandwich ingredients but no bread and leftover pizza. Apple sausage pancakes.
Slap your mama because she never made you these pancakes.
No thank you. And for the special one, dirt in a cup, and it's in a flower pot.
Get ready to bury the woman you love in a potted plant of deliciousness.
If I opened this dude's fridge, what would I find? Comment down below. And why not subscribe? The Food Dude might be lacking in the luster department, but he started an online trend.
Food Dude here.
Dude food.
Dude
New
food.
dude food.
Dude food.
This is dude food.
You know, women think they've got us figured out.
Layer 7, the rise and fall of Spike.
Spike TV is definitely a victim of that old phenomena, network decay. Before it was acquired by Viacom in 1999, TNN was the Nashville Network, which aired regional specific programs like the talk show Nashville Now and The Heart of Country Music.
The heart of country.
It filled a specific niche, more specific than the Man's Network. Viacom owned MTV and purchased CBS and all of its channels, including TNN, for $50 billion. And it didn't know what to do with the channel besides make it like a manlier version of MTV. Change which upset the Nashville locals. On September 20th, 2000, the Tennessean's front page read, TNN drops Nashville. The channel would be taken over by Nickelodeon and MTV alumni who said by 2005, the channel would have 50% original content. The new TNN was redubbed the National Network and brought an outdated, edgy 90s attitude to the year 2000, saturating a saturated market. The new TNN aired reruns of Star Trek, The Next Generation, Monster Jam, and Baywatch, and of course, syndicated the WWF's Monday Night Raw.
The new TNN.
It may have only lasted for 3 years, but TNN definitely had its own share of shows as well. Beginning on TNN before moving to Spike TV, Blind Date was a reality show that matched up people who didn't match very well, like goth girls, with cowboys. This hasn't aged well. Nowadays, goth girls have a stranglehold on the blue-collar community. Then not so much, I guess. Uh-oh.
So this date was just like Disneyland, wasn't it?
Very much like it, in that I've been to Disneyland and never gone back.
The editing in the show is the most distracting thing ever. They call it the buzz, where every 3 seconds something flashes up on screen like a fun fact, dirty laundry, dictionary, description, or thought bubbles, or say things, or lasers. Nothing's being thought out. She used to play naked. I didn't think she was thinking that. And now a streaker is being chased behind her? It's really just an awkward show, and the people themselves are awkward because they're not used to being on camera. This self-proclaimed bad boy literally couldn't be less charming. This woman hates this. I have secondhand embarrassment. Moving on. Ultimate Revenge is a show that aged badly just because it's so tame by today's standards. Ryan Seacrest helps people get back at their friends for silly things. This dude never pays for a meal, so he's put in a situation where he has to eat bugs. I've seen so many people eat gross things by now. Rhett and Link do that all the time. There's just no stakes in this show, but it has an awesome jingle. Taboo was a game show based on the board game, and let's just say it doesn't translate well to TV. TNN ordered 40 episodes in a push for more original programming. 40 hours of this.
Shiznit, I'm not the ant. Oh, that's time.
A lot of it's lost media. Imagine being the person who digs it up. Hosted by comedian Kevin Nealon, The Conspiracy Zone was a panel show discussing different conspiracy theories with a panel of theorists and occasional experts. I think it's a fun format for the time. I think it would be extremely political now. The new TNN just really didn't make the splash Viacom wanted, which is why it was rebranded to Spike 3 years into its life in 2003. What? The old logo with the big 3D muscly arms didn't grab audiences' attention? Look at those muscly arms. It should have grabbed whatever it wanted. The channel would rebrand once again to Spike TV, the first channel for men. With more Nickelodeon alumni coming aboard, Spike TV gained a reputation for cartoons, its limited-run reality show, Joe Schmo, reruns of cops, and uncreative attempts to repackage older shows into a recycled new show. With a lowbrow reputation, Spike TV actually had trouble attracting valuable advertisers. So Spike TV, the first channel for men, became Spike. Get more action. Complete with that spiky logo and action-packed bumpers promising a new direction. Spike always had trouble trying to figure out what kind of channel it was and who it was for. The first network for men can seem like a clear direction until you listen to how President Doug Herzog described it in 2006. Who is Spike TV for? The Rock is Spike, explained Spike President Doug Herzog. Jude Law is not Spike. I guess that sort of makes sense. But then immediately after in the interview, he backtracks a little bit. This is a big, wide open category. We want to appeal to a lot of different guys, he said. It's not about being the toughest guy. It's about being not afraid to be a guy. Doug, The Rock is the biggest, toughest guy. Even Jude Law is in pretty good shape. Most guys, they're not in that good of shape. Thing is, Spike was defining guys very narrowly, something that is so clearly expressed in Herzog's take on the UFC's success. It is to boxing what snowboarding is to skiing. Faster and more extreme and more dangerous, Herzog said, and most importantly, your father hates it. Most importantly, your father hates it? Maybe I was just too young to see the rise of the UFC, but like, it seems like it has a very widespread appeal. Nearly 20 years later, after this quote was said, the idea of the UFC being something that explicitly alienates older guys is really weird. It's short-sighted and definitely not a good place to be if you're looking to grow your audience. The only thing is, I really feel like the only way Spike knew how to define what kind of viewer they were going for was to decide who they weren't going to go for. By targeting younger teenagers mostly, Spike TV found itself in an unprofitable advertising pool and needed to appeal to older men and more men, which they figured they could do through one way. By 2010, Spike TV's annual ratings had declined 2 years in a row. So by 2011, they were trying to refine the message again. They said, less like Maxim, more like Esquire. Okay, another executive said, we don't want the women leaving the room when the guy's watching the stuff. The goal is to have the brand begin to think of itself as a service, helping men become more fully realized, better men. Men who may want to watch shows that women may want to watch too. Spike TV was never clear on who their audience was. They never had a clear line of success, so it's no wonder they hard shifted so much after the success of Lip Sync Battle. They were attracting A-list celebrities. So they tried to get on that like prestige TV train with the show Tut, a dramatic epic about King Tut, starring Ben Kingsley, amongst other shows. But ultimately in 2018, Spike TV was rebranded to the Paramount Network. Spike TV's Twitter had a whole meltdown because they were going away. It was silly. Paramount Network is very much a natural part of the current evolution of the cable landscape. Yellowstone, which premiered on Paramount Network, also has that like, prestige air to it. We're kind of like post-prestige TV, and I haven't seen Yellowstone, so I don't know. But that show's also very much targeted towards guys. Josh Holloway from Lost, the ultimate guy, is in it. But even something like Yellowstone, which is huge, but isn't exactly taking over the cultural zeitgeist, would be unprecedented success for Spike. The problem is, by narrowly marketing itself, even Spike TV's successes had a very low ceiling. It's no wonder that the UFC got out of there, and that the shows that did succeed on Spike have continued to succeed without Spike. From Bar Rescue, Ink Masters, and Joe Schmo, and Joe's vs. Pros coming back, and Blue Mountain State's coming back. The kind of content Spike created still has a place. The name Spike nowadays still exists on Paramount's free streaming platform Pluto. Spike is a streaming channel that airs reruns of shows that aired on other networks. Very much a quiet ending for one of the loudest channels that used to be on TV. So what do y'all think? Do you miss any Spike TV shows? Do you miss subscribing to Billiam? What's your favorite Spike show? What's your favorite Billiam video? You can subscribe to Billiam right now. See ya.